Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allie, and it is that time of the year where I am scrambling and trying to fill in as many bookish goals as I possibly can before we wrap on the year and welcome the new year. We have approximately like 5 days left of the year, so I'm like, how many books can I fit in this cramming vlog? This past year, I have been tallying up all of my bookish goals in my book journal. I have so many goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year, so many that like there's no way I'm gonna be able to accomplish in this short amount of time, but there's some that I would love to still avidly work towards even if I'm not going to finish them, and just kind of shout out the progress that I at least did accomplish along the way. I am gonna have a full-on video in the new year going over all of my reads for the year where I tally up stats and look at goals and set new goals and all of that. So that will be on that video, but this will just kind of be a little sneak peek glance at that. First up, we have my 25 and 2025, and I currently have 13? Oh, just so horrible. 13 left to read. So obviously I'm not completing my 25 and 2025, but that's okay. I'm gonna still try to fit in a couple in this video. Hopefully, that's the goal. Next, if we look at my book clubs I joined this year, there is still quite a few that I have missed. I participated briefly in all of these. The Literally Dead book club, you can kind of see the ones I have read versus the ones I haven't. The book troop, the Midnight Society, and In the Void. So technically, I haven't accomplished any of them fully, but there's still a small shred of hope that maybe I'll finish at least one before the end of the year. Within these book clubs, there was also challenges like Books and Lala's The Literally Dead book club. She also does the buzzword and buzzword cover challenges, and I am happy to say that I did complete those completely for the year, so I'm good to go on that challenge. In the Void book club does a yearly bingo, and I still have a few prompts to check off on my bingo list, but the yearly scavenger hunt is accomplished. I have finished it completely. My friend Gina on Instagram, it is Ghoulish Gina, is doing a 12 horror icon, and you're supposed to read a horror icon for each month of the year. And I feel like I've made really good progress on this. I only have, sorry, I see a cat walking outside, so I was admiring it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to. So again, probably not completing this year, but I'm gonna be pretty damn close. In the Void also does quarterly challenges. Quarter 1 was Obsession, and I did complete it. Quarter 2 was Adapting, and I also completed it. I think this one, I believe, was the one that on Storygraph, none of my prompts counted because I didn't read them during quarter 2. Listen, quarter 2 was a bad time for me. It was a minty bee time for me, if you will. So, oh my gosh, the cat's in my yard. It's like pure white. It's gorgeous. Has a collar on though. I think it's my neighbors across the street. Yeah, it was not a good time for me. So although I didn't read the prompts during that time, I did around that time before and after to fill in that one. Quarter 3 was Destruction. And I did complete all of those prompts. And the last quarter has been Uncanny, and there was only 4 for that one, but I did complete it as well. So I'm only missing quarter 2, I think, pick, which is a book that I am going to be reading for a different video. So I don't think I'm going to get to that one in this. I may get it to it by the end of the year because I am going to be reading other things for other videos. Maybe, possibly. But all that to say, once I finish that book, I will be completely done. Well, and my bingo. I want to tackle some of my bingo for In the Void. So if we can do that in this vlog, I will complete In the Void completely, which is super exciting. I also set a challenge for myself. I asked 12 different IRL, Bookstagram, BookTube, just bookish people in general, for a book rec, and I did 12 of them, one for each month. Obviously felt super behind on it. and hope to do better with that in the new year because I've had such a fun time. But I have dedicated spreads in my journal to each one of them, and I have completed maybe like 8 or 9 of them. So I'm not doing terrible there, but out of respect, I would really, really love to, you know, get to some more of my friend recs and actually finish them out because these people recommended these books for me and they are all very good friends at this point, and I love seeing their reading journey and like what they're up to, and yeah, I would just really like to finish, and not just that, but also get to the rest of the spreads because I'm missing, I'm trying to show you guys all the ones I have so far, but I am missing some of them. Oh, there's Scotty. I don't think I read any in September from my friend Rex. I picked it back up in October with Kelsey's from Slime and Slashers Readathon. She was one of my friend picks, so I did read her pick during that month, and then I think I picked it back up in November, but I haven't got to those friend rec pages yet, and I need to because I've read some more since then. So yeah, I think I have mentioned all my goals. Oh, the last one. I did this video, 10 by the end, like maybe close to a month ago. You guys, I've probably read like 2 of these books. Maybe a couple more, give or take, I don't know. Yeah. I did not plan accordingly for my 10 by the end. I honestly just looked at covers and was just like, ooh, I wanna read that, I wanna read that, I wanna read that. And yeah, I don't think that that's gonna happen either. But maybe we can read 1 or 2, or I don't know, in this video. We're gonna see. I'm gonna take in all of these bookish goals into consideration, and I'm not really building a TBR. I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna pick up what I feel like reading. It's gonna kind of be like a mood read vlog to end out my year, but in a cramming style. My biggest book goal that I have accomplished every year for the past few years has been my Goodreads goal. And I set that bar so high this year of 200 books. And although I actually think it's very attainable for my reading to be able to hit that in a good year, this wasn't a good reading year for me. Book-wise, incredible, but like mentally and where I was at and how many I actually picked up, I think overall for where I was at, it's been a really good year. I never will discourage anybody for any numbers of books you read. If you read over 200 books, kudos to you. If you read 1 book this year, kudos to you. So yeah, I'm trying to not be hard on myself, but there's always that like, feeling of like not hitting that goal and seeing like, you know, that you hit your goal for the year and just knowing that like, more than likely I'm not going to. I do have a lot of Edgar Allan Poe short stories I'm going to be reading also during these days for my last Edgar Allan Poe, because I said I was going to read all of his in 2025, and I'm going to finish that. There's quite a few of them, so I think that that's really going to hit my goal up a lot higher, but I still don't think I'm going to hit the 200 mark, and that's okay. I'm going to be easy on myself, maybe set a little bit more of a realistic goal next year, but more than likely I'll probably challenge myself and be like, bitch, you didn't hit it last year, you're going to hit 200 this year. All right, let's segue into the first book that I did pick up and I already devoured it. Honestly, I devoured this one because it was so unhinged and so intense that I literally could not put it down, and that is At Dark, I Become Loathsome by LaRocca. Oh my gosh, this author kills me every time. I've only read a couple from them, and although I love the writing style, it's always so dark and disturbing and unsettling, and I can definitely vibe with it. I think this one was a little bit more challenging for me because it was just so heavy. I think if I picked this up during one of my hard times, there's just no way I could have read it. I've never read a book, or I've never read from an author that does it this dark and depressing. And I know that there is beauty in that, and there is like almost like a therapy vibe in that, and I'm sure it's like therapy for them to like, you know, write all of it out and stuff, and they are tackling a lot of really hard topics and different things. And not just that, but like with really unique and interesting premises. This is, about this guy named Ashley. His wife has died and his young son disappeared. But the piece of the grave is not for him. It's for those he can help. Ashley has constructed a particular ritual for those who desire to die at war with their yearning to live a better life. So he brings in these people, finds them on the internet, and they are in the thought process of wanting to unalive themselves. It's very, very dark. Please check your trigger warnings. There's more things than that in this book. There's so much. Always, if you are triggered by things, you have to check your triggers with LaRocca. But he finds these people on the internet and tells them that he is there to help them. They're going to do these ritualistic type of experiments to help combat the urge for them wanting to not be here, and to try to give them the, I guess, like the shock value of like wanting to live. Struggling to overcome his own endless grief, one night he finds connection with Jinx, a potential candidate for Ashley's next ritual, who spins a tale both revolting and fascinating. Thus begins a relationship that traps the two men in an ever-tightening spiral of pain revelations, where long-hidden secrets are dragged kicking and screaming into the light. Only through pain can we find healing. Only through death can we find new life. It is very dark. I wish that I could go more into detail about what this ritual is. I found it super interesting and just wow, the shock factor of it all. I do feel like where the book went, I agree with some other people. It's too spoilery to talk about, but I wish that with Jinx it went in a different direction than what it did. I feel like that was a little bit predictable, but I definitely predict it to go, I feel like it could go one of two ways, and it went the opposite way of what my prediction was, although my prediction still lined up a little bit. If you read it, you know. But yeah, this left me uncomfy. Like I said, I sat down and I read it in one go because I literally couldn't put it down. I was so jarred. But I wanted to include it in this video because it is my end of the year cramming and I have no place else for this. And this also checks off one of my 25 and 2025, which is great. I think that's the only thing this checks off. But my In the Void bingo, not only do I have a free space in the middle I have to fill in, but I also have got for free. And I don't know, does like the library count? Because I did borrow this from my library. And then author's fave book, which is not this. That is another book I have in mind. So this might be just the free space. I'm gonna look and see if I can find anything about like what got for free means, because I'm definitely gonna have to try to fill that prompt in this video somehow. Yeah, I did land at a 3-star. It was quite the time. It would have been a higher rating for me, but this one was a little too heavy for me, a little too dark. There was elements I really did not like and that sicked me out that I can't give it a higher rating. I just can't. But nevertheless, I am still intrigued by Eric. I will pick up more from them, and I am already looking at their backlist like what's next. So you have intrigued me.
Trying to figure out the maze inside their heads. They're all so ahead. I can't keep up. Everything's so confusing. What should I do if all the words I utter turn to nothing into dust?
Alright, you guys, I have started Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang. Honestly, I put this on my 25 and 2025 because I had heard such amazing things about the last book, which now I can't even think of what it's called. It was something about horror and the beauty industry. I still really want to get to it, but as you know, I do my 25 and 2025 this whole, every year. They have to be, the way I do it anyways, is they have to be published in that year, because this is my way of reading new books. Because if not, I will be reading just a bunch of backlog books. I feel like I have the opposite effect as like some people with this challenge. So yeah, I had to choose her current one, and I'm gonna say I am slightly bored. I hate to have that update. I think the premise of this is really cool. I don't think the writing is bad. It's intriguing. But when I tell you I am not a general fiction girly. I'm just not. I don't like it. I usually, at this point in my life, I will just DNF it. I'm bored. I don't want to read about somebody else's life unless it's traumatic and scary and horror, or it's something weird and different, female rage, or just very uncanny and weird girl vibes, you know? So this is giving a little bit of weird girl vibes. It's giving a little bit of obsession too, which I really like, but it's very subtle to where it's reading more like literary fiction because it is beautiful writing, but I'm bored. I definitely thought that she wrote more horror. I don't know if the last one is a lot more horror than this, but this is just literary fiction sci-fi at the end of the day. Immaculate Conception. This is about two women who meet in art school, and Inca is instantly like obsessed with, she gets to a point to where she's proving her worth and like she's becoming a lot more successful. You have like this like balanced dynamic. It literally is just their life story. Them going through art school, them finding themselves in the future, them kind of like distancing themselves from each other because of different conflicts and aspects in their life. And they're working where Inca is kind of now marrying into a wealthier family and starting a family and that type of ordeal. She still is in an art family who have like an institute and stuff like that. They're very well known, where she is still working in this process of now trying to configure up this immaculate conception. And I don't think it's spoilery to say that. Cutting edge technology, and it could allow Inca to inhabit mind and access her memories, artistic inspirations, and deep-seated trauma. Undergoing this procedure would link her, but at what cost? I haven't quite got to that part yet. I know it's one of their next things that they're working on and they're discussing with her. Inca's new family is discussing like helping them with this process because it would be groundbreaking. And they're both kind of like uneasy and unsure, but Inca has this obsession for her that like she's willing to pretty much do anything to be in this girl's life. I don't know what to think about the rest of the story or where it's really going to go. I don't want to be spoilery here, but there's a moment where it goes up at her door and it's the Immaculate Conception. Like it's the whole title of like what's going on, and that was intriguing to me. I was like, oh my gosh, the way that she just brainstormed this and did this and the way it's going to change the world, you know, in this book, that was phenomenal. But then I felt like it just kind of left us, and now we're going into this new territory with something that can link the two of them to where Inca can feel her grief and pain and her memories and all of that I don't know. It's very sci-fi. It's beautifully written, but I don't think it's a book for me. I am going to continue because it is in my 25 and 2025, and I own it. Also, shout out to Aardvark for another stunning book. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think soon.
If you could find any meaning in the dust, what should I feel?
I have finished Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang. This continued to be interesting. I was never once bored with this. I feel like there was a lot of like scientific rambling and those type of aspects. I didn't really get a whole lot of horror from this though, and I am a little confused that this is in the horror category for the Good Choice Awards because I didn't get a whole lot of horror from this. I feel like, yes, there is aspects of horror with this type of scientific experiment of taking over somebody. Absolutely. But the way that it went about it just never really screamed horror to me. It really does fall more into the like sci-fi than horror, and even just like literary fiction. Like it's beautifully written. I do feel like the sci-fi elements held my attention more than usual with like a literary fiction. But yeah, I definitely would have liked this to be a little bit more horror, even if it was just a little bit, like if it made you a little bit more uneasy, was a little more intense in that way, I would have appreciated it more. There was definitely elements of it that I was just like, ooh, or like grossed me out. Really cool concepts like throughout, but I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing. Maybe I don't find this very scary or horror. Hard one to explain because the general idea of this is very horror adjacent. Like you would think like that is terrifying to think about something like that happening in the future. Some type of experiment like this working to where it becomes a new normal. But what's hard to explain is how the writing is and how just easygoing and flowy. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. Just really took the horror out of it and it just wasn't what I was expecting. With that being said, I still really enjoyed it, and from what I can remember from last year, her last one, I think is it called Natural Beauty? I still really want to get to that one. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure people were kind of saying the same thing. Like, if you're looking for just straight up horror with this, you're not going to get it. It's a lot more like subtle. There's just horror ideas to it. It's a little unsettling, but like more than anything, it's just beautiful writing and not really full on horror. So I remember people saying that about Natural Beauty too. So maybe this is Ling Huang's style. I would definitely pick up more from her in the future. This wasn't an all-time favorite for me though. I think I am landing more at a 4. I do think that there's elements of the story I was not expecting. There was definitely like some plot twists that were thrown in that I was like, whoa. Like I knew kind of what was to come because of the synopsis, but like where she took it in other directions, did I necessarily want those things? Not necessarily, but it did make a little bit of a shock factor for sure. The only other like, I feel like critique I have with this is I really wish that it dove more into the Immaculate Conception. I don't want to talk too much on it to avoid spoilers, but yeah, I feel like that idea kind of went out the window really fast, and obviously like for reasons, but I don't know, having the synopsis this has and then the title it has and then trying to intertwine those things left me a little unsatisfied. I think that's the best word. So yeah, not bad. 4 stars. Think it had a potential to be a 5-star, so that's a little disappointing, but definitely an author I would pick up again. In the sense of cramming, not only did I have this on my 25 and 2025, I believe this was a part of some book clubs, or at least one, I think. It was part of the book troupe. And it was also a part of the Midnight Society. So that's super exciting to be able to check all of those off. 3 different prompts with 1 book. That is what this cramming video is for. After finishing Immaculate Conception, I jumped straight into the Judge's House. I do not have a physical copy of this, so I will throw it up for you guys. I did read this via audio. It was incredible. This is by Bram Stoker, and this is for my 12 horror icons. Running up on the end of the year and not knowing how to fill these prompts and knowing that I won't be able to accomplish them, I was hoping to at least get in maybe 1 or 2 more. So I thought that this one would be perfect. I am rereading Dracula very, very soon. So I didn't want to really read that, or I think there's like a continuation Dracula story. Instead, I decided to try out something I've never read from Bram Stoker before, and that is The Judge's House. The synopsis on Goodreads says, a scholar takes up residence in the former home of a judge with a very evil reputation. He finds the place infested with rats, but it suits his purposes until one of the rats grows too bold and the scholar realizes the horror he stumbled into. I loved this. Like, the writing and everything, and it really just felt like a cross between Bram Stoker, like some of the writing feeling was there from Dracula, but it also reminded me of just like this eerie, ominous Edgar Allan Poe story, and I loved it. The build-up, the anticipation, the eeriness of like what's going on, and you have like the confused, almost unreliable narrator of this person that's taking up residence in this house, and just, you know, it's your typical like haunted house ghost story, but he is questioning people and he's getting like little tidbits here and there about like, oh, you live there, and you know, that type of ordeal, kind of building up to the overall like shock factor. And what an ending. I loved it. I'm landing at a 5-star. It is a short story, so I wanted to keep it very short and sweet and not spoil anything. I feel like the general idea is out there. You just have to go in for the fun part of the experience and Bram Stoker's take on a ghost story. I had a really great time with it though. I'm also really stoked to have another iconic horror author checked off the list, so that when I do cramming at the beginning of the year to finish up any goals that I'm wanting to, I won't have as many. Wanted to check in earlier with you guys and do like check-ins throughout today. I apologize that this video has turned into almost like speed run reviews, but I guess that's the general idea of cramming. I'm taking every opportunity I have to be reading, and that's why I am barely checking in with you guys. But also, today is my friend's son's birthday, so we're going to their house for dinner, cake, that ordeal tonight. So I wanted to check in before I have to leave here soon, because we still have to go pick up a gift and all of that. Procrastination at its finest. Anyways, I did check off another book for the end of the year, and it is also a friend rec. So I am super stoked about that, because I am also trying to read other friend recs behind the scenes to finish them out for the year. I don't know if it's going to be possible by the end of the year. I think I'm going to have to read some like the beginning of the year, unfortunately. But I do have another one done, and a quick shout out, my friend Lavender. She is also a real life friend, a bookish friend. We have known each other for years, literally since we were kids. But with this particular friend, it's been really nice here recently, this like past year or so, to kind of rekindle that for like friendship and like share our love for books. And she has always been an avid reader, so I definitely asked her for a recommendation this year. And she did go off of the idea of I love horror, so she wants to give me a horror rec. Her reply to me for this rec was, oh my goodness, I read Stephen a while ago and it freaked me out. And then she sent me her Goodreads review, and that she gave 4 stars. Over time, she has also hyped it up more for me, telling me like, oh, I can't wait till you get to that. And even when I told her I finished it, she said, how did you like it? That was my first like gore book, and it shook me. So needless to say, I was pretty stoked to get into this one. This is Stephen by Amy Cross, and I have never read Amy Cross. I actually never heard of this book, and apparently it's a little infamous. I guess when it came out, it was really big on Kindle, and a lot of people were shook and putting out reviews like, do not read this book, it is horrifying and everything else. So definitely piqued the intrigue even more. And I will say, this was a really nice read. This follows a woman who's coming from a like nun convent, and she is being placed in a home. This man is telling her like, my wife needs like help, you know, with our son, and she's been going through a tough time. We just need help here, and our last person that was here no longer is here. So pretty much just seeking help. And I don't want to spoil anything. I'm going to pull it up on Goodreads so I can give you guys the synopsis that it gives. She accepts the position as governess for the Brooks family. When she arrives at the family's remote house, however, she discovers that a terrible secret is waiting for her in the nursery. Desperate to help her employers in their hour of need, she nevertheless struggles to look after their son. What happened to Stephen to leave him the way he is? What happened to the previous governess at Grandhurst? And what causes the sobbing sound that seems to drift through the empty room? By the time she uncovers the awful truth about the family and about little Stephen, it might be too late. Burl to ever leave? You know, now I think about it, I don't remember ever hearing her name. I did read this via audio. They just kept calling her Miss Seaton, I think. Anyways, that's what it gives. It is a setup more kind of like a thriller that just has very gory body horror to it, is the vibe that I got from it. It's very eerie, it's very dark. My critiques with this is what I told her was it was a little too long for my liking. Like, I feel like once we got shock factors, I was like, oh wow, like you think you're at the end of the book, and then it just continued. And you know that one thing that some authors do where in this case, this is being told to us like this woman's story. So we know that she's alive. We know that she's older and she's writing her story out to us now. But in a chapter before like the Big Bang chapter, she's warning us and telling us to not read. And don't get me wrong, I love like a little like satire Lemony Snicket in the beginning of his books being like, close this book right now. What you're going to read is not what you think. It's not sunshine and rainbows. Like, I like that. But like when we're in the thick of it and then you're gonna stop, and I get he does that too, but like it's brief. This was an entire chapter of her telling us that we're about to expect the most awful thing we're ever going to read in our lives. And that just kind of took me out of the story. Like, I feel like it would have been so much more like, oh my God, like if it would have just happened without the warning. I feel like the author should have just taken note to like maybe just focus more on doing a trigger warning at the beginning of the book if she wanted to include an aspect like that. I don't know. I don't know if she just thought like this is going to be too wild for people. And don't get me wrong, like it was definitely a shock. The body horror is grotesque. And I did predict at that point, I think with how long she took warning us, I predicted at that point what was going to happen in the next chapter, regardless. But I will say the descriptions and the sounds, like the descriptive sounds, did make me gag. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the body horror a lot. The writing was okay. I feel like the pacing was okay. I was never bored. It really does flow. But I feel like even after that, like I was ready for the book to wrap itself up, and I felt like it just kept going and going and going and going. And again, I wasn't bored, but I was like, oh my God, like when is this gonna end? I'm like, everything's happened now. Like, what are we doing? Definitely not a perfect 5 for me. I think I'm landing more at like a 3 star, so very close to her rating. Definitely is a pretty good recommendation for a friend, because it's definitely one that you read and you're like, I've got to talk to somebody about this. This is wild. It was a really fun one to kind of like be like, oh, that was gross. And with that being said, I'm off. I've got to go get some stuff done before tonight, and hopefully I will see you guys.
If you could find any meaning in the darkness, what should I feel? I couldn't even say hello.
Hello, you guys. Quick little check-in. I am currently doing a full day of cramming for Edgar Allan Poe. It was a goal of mine. I didn't mention in this video because I knew it was going to have a whole video to itself, but for 2025 and a little bit of 2024, I set out to read all of Edgar Allan Poe, and I just about have done it. The only thing I had left was his work in fantasy, so I'm filming a whole video on it right now. It may already be up. You guys can go check it out. I'll link it above if it is. But yeah, today, this is all you get from me because the beginning of today and the rest of today is dedicated fully to that vlog and finishing out my Edgar Allan Poe journey because I am almost there. But I wanted to check in with you guys because I do have something to talk about for my cramming vlog, and that is Bunnicula meets Edgar Allan Poe. I am kind of briefly talking about it in that vlog as well, so this might be a little bit of a broken record if you have watched it, but yeah, I'm fitting this in my end of my year because we have now reached the In the Void section where I have the bingo to fill out. And with that being said, one of the bingo prompts I need to fill out was free to me, and I got on the story graph to see what the description said, and like I was like, I can't use a library book. None of it said library books. It says it has to be in your possession, so like you have to own it. You can get it from a little free library or a gift given to you. And my friend gifted me this copy for my birthday because she knows I love Dracula, and I have also been making my way through Edgar Allan Poe. So she was like, this is perfect for you. So yeah, I'm fitting this in, and it's honestly been perfect because it's like a nice little palette cleanser in between the actual writing of Edgar Allan Poe, which can sometimes be so dense, that I've really been enjoying this. I'm already halfway through, but I'm checking in with you guys now because while this is cute and silly, it is very very kid. So I had mentioned in the other vlog that I could see myself reading the series with my youngest, maybe in the future. This, unfortunately, is the last book in the series, so I am being spoiled by it, but I don't see myself reading these, so I thought I would just tell you guys now. I'm reading this for the end of the year. I'm cramming it into my reading stats, but I'm also putting this down as my got for free. And so that means at dark, I become loathsome. I might just move into my free space spot, which means I only have one more spot on this bingo board to fill up, and I have an idea for it. But I'm going to right now focus on my Edgar Allan Poe, and then I'll figure it out later. If I get through my Edgar Allan Poe and I have some downtime to read tonight, I will definitely start something for that so that hopefully we can get another one in. And I really just think that I can maybe make tomorrow like a full-on, almost like a 24-hour reading, although I'm not gonna have that much time because it is New Year's Eve, so tomorrow is. So we're gonna have a lot of family time, we're gonna play games and do different things like that, but I definitely think I'm going to still, maybe even my morning, fit in like solid hours dedicated to it for this vlog and for some of these prompts.
Just to sit in total silence.
So I'm back and I'm feeling so much better today. Yesterday was definitely a minty bee day. I was going through it, and the Edgar Allan Poe stories were not helping, but I did make my way through them. There was actually one that slipped my radar. So I am currently making my way through that one today. I do have the audio for it, but it is a longer one. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish it. I've worked on it part of this morning. Honestly, this morning I dedicated to picking back up the books that I already have like currently going so that I can, I don't know, I feel like it's the last day. It's New Year's Eve, so I'm like, let's just try to finish any books that I already have started to end out the year. That's kind of the vibe. So that's what I've been working on. I am currently reading that Edgar Allan Poe. I'm reading a thriller. I still have The Unworthy that I haven't finished, and I'm like halfway, if not over halfway through that one. So yeah, I'm kind of like tackling those, but I did want to fit in at least one more book for this video because I have a rather short one, and this is such a highly anticipated read for me that I would love to get to it by the end of the year. And we're kind of throwing it back to In the Void bingo here because my last prompt that I have to fill is a favorite author's favorite book. And this didn't really specify like that it has to be their all-time favorite. So I found on Gizmodo.com the 20 sci-fi, fantasy, and horror authors pick their favorite sci-fi, fantasy, and horror books of 2025. And one of my favorite authors, Stephen Graham Jones, said, a slender novel that if you squeeze it too tight, drips blood. But it's the kind of blood that makes you smile. The violence in here is glorious. It is over the top. He goes on to say that he is no Victorianist, but that he feels like this encapsulates that era. The details, the manners, the attitudes and convictions, the lace dollies, and so proper speech, they transport you right back to these times. He said this was one of his favorite books of the year, so I'm counting it. And that is Victorian Psycho, and this is by Virginia Feito. I'm not really sure how you say her last name. I will figure that out. But yeah, I mean, is this not stunning? This, of course, is an aardvark edition. Absolutely stunning. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know this one was signed. That's cool. But yeah, it's absolutely stunning. And I have seen so many reviews about this that it's such a good time and not what they're expecting, and more people should read it. And I was like, oh, I need to get to that one. I need to get to that one. So I feel like this is the perfect one to close it out. It is rather short, so I feel like I can work on it a little bit now and definitely finish it later. It's New Year's Eve. We're gonna be staying up late, so I'm pretty sure I have time to fit in at least one more short book. Winifred Naughty arrives at Ensor House prepared to play the perfect governess. She's dutifully tutor her charges. Drusilla and Andrew tell them bedtime stories and only joke about eating children. But long, listless days spent within the estate's dreary confines come with an intimate knowledge of the perversions and pathetic preoccupations of the Pounds family. Mr. Pounds can't keep his eyes off Winifred's chest, and Mrs. Pounds takes a sickly pleasure in punishing Winifred for her husband's wandering gaze. Compounded with her disdain for the entitled Pounds children, Winifred finds herself struggling at every turn to stifle the violent compulsions of her past. French tutoring and needlework are one way to pass the time, as is admiring the ugly portraits in the gallery and creeping across the moonlit lawns. Patience. Winifred must have patience, for Christmas is coming and she has very special gifts planned for the dear souls of Ensor House. I'm so excited to jump into this and let you guys know what I think. Also, happy New Year's Eve. Also, happy Stranger Things Day. It is the season finale of the last season and it's insane. We are super stoked. We're doing a full Stranger Things evening. So we're gonna make food like Stranger Things themed and chill out and watch it tonight. So I'll take you guys along for that, but also we're doing our countdown to New Year. Last year we did like confetti cannons. I'm still cleaning up confetti. Every time I clean under my couch, there's more confetti. So this year we're like balloons it is. We already have a couple down. We started at noon, so we already have a couple down. We have quite a few more to go, and they're coming up with like these challenges to do in between. Like every time we pop a balloon, the boys do like some type of like challenge with James, and it's so funny, but they're having a blast. And I get to get in more reading and take down more Christmas and stuff, and I gotta get a lot of cleaning done because tomorrow's the 1st. There's no cleaning on the 1st. Anyways, I hope you guys had a really good New Year's Eve and a new year by the time you guys see this vlog. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I think today, possibly tomorrow, depending on when I finish this. If I finish it super late and I'm exhausted, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. But hopefully I can check in tonight at some point. I barely got any sleep last night because I was reading. So I'm gonna be so tired. Like the ball's gonna drop and it's gonna hit midnight and I'm gonna be like, I'm going to bed.
Then maybe you would finally come around. You'd finally come around. I can't keep up, everything's so confusing. What How's the song, bro? Raindrops, star drops, the clouds won't stop. My umbrella hangs by the door. The skies are blue, the darkest of blue. Now I swear I felt this before. You sent it near. Are you still there? When days are long, I sing a song. A tiny palm rolls around. A memory, a distant dream. You'll always stay in my It's safe inside. You don't have to hide in the place we've made just our style. The worlds we find, let's lose track of time. So please won't you stay for a while? You sent it near. Are you still there? When days are long, I sing a song. A tiny palm rolls around. A memory, a distant dream. You'll always stay in my
Guys, for the lighting, I'm trying to use the last bit of daylight today to check in with you guys. Also, I have totes behind me because I'm still collecting all the Christmas stuff to take down to storage. Not only did I finish my last Edgar Allan Poe, I also finished my thriller that I've been working on since November. Thankfully, it turned around and ended up being a really good read. I should have stuck through earlier on. But I ended up only having like a couple that I still have going from before the new year. That will just be 2026 reads. But my very last read was in fact Victorian Psycho. I did finish it. It reads so fast, and I know I briefly talked about it before. I know I read the synopsis and such, and that it was signed, which I think is so cool. But there's also like illustrations. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see these good, but there's like illustrations throughout. The font is so pretty. Part 1. And then look at that. Each part has like an illustration. I loved the writing. And it's funny because I just read Stephen by Amy Cross in this video. And I feel like that was trying to, I don't really know if that fell, I can't remember if it fell into like the Victorian era or not, but like the writing style and the fact that we have another governess, like somebody who's coming in and like helping like with the children and, you know, just to help out pretty much. But I enjoyed the way that this one was written way more. You really, like, it really put you in that era and like how things were described and the scenery and everything. For being such a short read, it really encapsulated it, and it was so good, like so well done. I enjoyed this so much, and honestly, like, yes, it's horror, it's, I would say, slasher adjacent. But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like when it comes down to it, this was more of a 4-star throughout. I was really enjoying my time with it. I thought it was beautifully written and just kind of just silly and just, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's uncanny. Like, that's the best way to word this. It's unsettling and just different. Like, it's just, it's a weird time because this, you know, new governess that we're following, Winifred, they call her Miss Naughty a lot. It's N-O-T-T-Y, naughty. But the kids are just kind of like prissy, and the people, like the adults, are like horrible. So it's just kind of fun to see also like this feminine rage in her, like come out throughout. And like there is definitely scenes, I've always said, this might be a mild spoiler, but there's always, you know, the fact that I talk about how I really don't like horror that involves children or children getting hurt and stuff. And I didn't know how to feel about it in this, but I will say it reminded me a lot of Steven in a sense of like what I was picturing as far as like what these people would be wearing and like how they're acting and stuff like that. But it also reminded me of Katie by Michael McDowell. That is a slasher about a young girl, and it really, really took me back to that read, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, the ending of this was phenomenal. I feel like it didn't really feel rushed as much as just like a, you know, one setting type of situation where it was just kind of like a ticking bomb and like boom. But the way everything was described, the body horror, the gore, all of that, phenomenal job. I will definitely be watching for Virginia on like future books for sure. This was such a good time and I landed at 5 stars. I'm glad I'm wrapping this video up because I am losing daylight completely. But yeah, I just wanted to check in, let you guys know about my last book that I crammed into my vlog at the end of the year and what I thought of it. I'm so excited to be jumping into my first reads of 2026 now, and stay tuned because more vlogs are right around the corner with that. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video.